So for this project, I decided to focus on faculty senates, primarily at Emory University in the Georgia Institute of Technology. I decided to focus on this aspect for the fact that it is a form of shared governance, and I really enjoyed that topic in the course. But before that, just a little bit about myself. I am 26 years old at the moment. I graduated in 2015 with a bachelor's in psychology from Georgia Gwinnett College, which is where I served as an admissions counselor from 2015 to 2019. And as of July 15th, I started working as a mentor and academic advisor. So I really, sort of accomplished my goal during the semester, transitioning into that. And I am the oldest of 4 siblings, and I did intern at the White House in 2015. It really inspired me to pursue a career in public service, which is why I'm now in this position. Career aspirations, they have changed given that I am now an advisor, and that is what I wanted to do for a long time. So moving forward, I want to progress within it, of course, but I also believe that higher education professionals should have the ability to essentially get a 360 of the field. For me, I started at admissions, now I'm in advising, and I hope that I find my way into another sector just so that I can use all that knowledge to eventually serve a leadership role, either in enrollment management where I started or in advising or elsewhere. As an advisor, it is highly recommended that everyone in this particular department joins NACADA, which is essentially just an organization geared towards advisors, and I'll talk about it a little bit in the next slide. But at the moment, I want my focus to be on student development, specifically first-generation college students, and of course, become a more active member in boards or committees. And I feel like that would start to sort of give me a one-on-one personal sort of understanding of how shared governance works primarily here at Georgia Gwinnett College. One of the committees that I have been interested in doing, and it's one that all the advisors eventually get to be a part of, is the SAP Appeals Committee, which essentially is the committee who overlooks appeal letters from students who have lost financial aid, primarily due to academic standing, and that affects, of course, the advisors who are trying to help students, complete their degree. It is a form of governance, I feel. They do have their chair and then, their members, and there's a lot of delegation that goes into making a decision for a student. I also see it as an ability to network and sort of showcase what I know and, at the same time gain more knowledge. And I think also as an advisor, I have to holistically understand how student services operate here on campus. And again, financial aid is such a big one because, it keeps students here or, has them sit out for a minute. Now, focusing a little bit more on NACADA. NACADA is an association of professionals, advisors, counselors, faculty, administrators, and even students who essentially work to develop the educational experience for students. And then they provide discussions, forums, publications, and of course I, as an academic advisor, completing my master's, I hope that after that I have the ability to publicize some work or be a part of that in the future. Now, tying all that back to shared governance, one of my favorite articles from the discussions that we've had in class was the one from Olson in 2009, and he did such a good job about simply explaining what shared governance means in practice. And from the article, I sort of understood it as a way of creating this balanced distribution of decision-making power across campus. It doesn't mean that admissions or financial aid will, make important decisions that affect all students in all departments, but they have the autonomy and the ability to function within their department and have their own sense of governance, and of course every department much like an institution with their president, has an accountable officer, typically the provost, a director, an associate director. And the example that was used was the hiring process, in terms of how many active members are part of that. And at the very end, it comes down to a decision-making accountable officer who gives that offer and decides which candidate will join that particular department. So when looking at faculty senates, which is a form of shared governance, essentially it's a relationship among these administrators and faculty members in a more cohesive setting where they can make very complicated decisions, either, for example, on degree completion, rewriting courses, renaming courses, and I think it's a really cool way to come together and also recognize everyone's abilities outside of just the teaching and the research. And you also engage with people you normally wouldn't, people who are in the psychology department and those who are in, the IT department, technology department. And I think it also allows faculty members to have pathways or open up pathways to move up in other roles on campus with a lot more influential decision-making power. Specifically, when looking at Emory University, I wanted to do a private versus public situation, but just a little bit of the institution itself. Again, it's private research. It's located in Atlanta, Georgia. It was founded in 1836 in Oxford, Georgia, by a Methodist church, and it was named after their bishop, John Emory. Again, Emory University comes from that. Eventually, that just became the Oxford campus, and it moved down towards the Druid Hills area in 1915, and it was charted as Emory University. So it started as Emory College, then transitioned into the university title, and that happened with the help of Coca-Cola founder Asa Chandler, and he was able to donate $1 million and also provide land grants for the new building of this institution. We're looking at their University Senate. It's what they call it. They don't call it Faculty Senate, and it's a little bit more broader in a way, and it has very different sectors under that umbrella. And it's super essential to the functioning of Emory. It brings Emory faculty, staff, and students together. They meet about once a month. They make recommendations to the president or the board of trustees for all university matters. They review new and existing policies, and more importantly, they make recommendations about honorary degree recipients. I wasn't able to look at their notes because I did not have access to them, but I was able to understand sort of their organizational structure. And so at the very top of the Faculty Council, which is under the University Senate, which mimics, the Faculty Senate that I brought up earlier. And so you have the chair, past chair, chair-elect. The ex officio members don't have a lot of decision-making power, but they're more of representative figures. Then you have the committee chairs, and then you have the elected members. Most of the focus in Emory for the Faculty Council is academic affairs. They also review the terms and conditions for faculty employment, the state of facilities, general financial conditions, things of that nature. And membership for this council include, again, the elected members of the University Senate, and then those members are allowed to bring in 8 additional ones each year, and they're appointed again by the Faculty Council Executive Committee. The Georgia Institute of Technology did allow me to see their meeting notes and have a little bit more of a research process with them, because they did have that open up to the public. But just before stepping into that realm, just a little bit about Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was founded on October 10th, 1885. It only offered one degree in mechanical engineering. And admissions was only limited to white males up until the 1950s when women were allowed to enter. And I thought this was such an important point to make because there is a lack of diversity within the technology field, and the fact that more and more women are pursuing these careers is, very beneficial to the tech world, where it's not just limited to a particular population. And of course, Buzz, their mascot, which is the yellow jacket, made its first appearance in the 1980s, so I thought that was just a really cool fact. Now we're looking at their particular governance system. They do call it Faculty Senate, whereas, again, Emory called it Faculty Council. And the Faculty Senate essentially grants the rights and responsibilities for, one, the creation of committees and just general governance of the student body. They do have the authority to modify regulations, especially ones pertaining to academic standings, admissions, scholarships, graduation requirements. There's a lot of autonomy to create their own, again, regulations, which I thought was really cool. Being able to sort of, the president has, the final say, but as a committee, you can come up with what you think is best for, their standards at Georgia Tech. And what I thought was really cool is that there are collaborative joint sessions. So, for example, the faculty at Georgia Tech, as you can see in the chart, is divided into 4 different sort of sectors. You have the research faculty, the academic faculty senate, the academic faculty, the faculty executive board, and depending on the case, 1 or 2 might work together. And I was able to look at some of their PowerPoints to just kind of see that relationship. So it just depends on what it is that they're trying to accomplish that specific year. Part 2 of this section, again, I was able to look at some of their meeting notes that took place on April 23rd, 2019. Their primary focus was very general. It was course requirements, grade substitution policies, and student-faculty expectations for that term. Again, this is the spring term, so they were sort of moving forward for the next cycle, this upcoming fall 2020 semester. And what I do like about it is that they update members of what happened in the prior meetings. So they do keep up with things that they came up with, and they make sure that everything's executed from the previous meeting. So I thought that was really neat. Moving forward, again, I just really want to hone down right now my focus group of first-generation college students as an advisor. So those would be my primary populations that I will be working with. I also want to be able to teach GGC 1000 courses here about study skills, mental health, which is very important to me, and just, organization, how to be a student and how to move forward. There's a question mark with the PhD. I haven't even completed my master's, but it is something that I'm looking forward to. And as I mentioned before, I'm looking to get really involved with student development and retention. And again, this all ties back to everything that's streamed down from these, faculty senate, governance bodies, or just the general, governance body of the institution. And everything's so interconnected. One wrong decision or one major decision can make it or break it for departments or for institutions. So again, I really enjoyed just the concept of shared governance and the ability that institutions have to make decisions within their own sector, outside of what is happening, on the larger picture in terms of what the president says or what the provost wants. And then this is just the list of references that I was able to accumulate for the purpose of the project.